is going on, H-Town? If you had any question whether or not pending free agents would want to come to the Houston Texans, play for DeMeco Ryans, play with franchise quarterback C.J. Stroud, look at what happened yesterday at the Pro Bowl. C.J. Stroud, there was so much buzz and news around him and two star wide receivers. Everyone knows that there is something special brewing here in H-Town, and everyone wants a piece of it. The Houston Texans are now a destination, guys. People are going to want to come here to contend in the playoffs, to play with C.J. Stroud, and be coached by DeMeco Ryans. With that being said, one of the star wide receivers was Jamar Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals. There was a huge moment during the game. C.J. Stroud rolled into his left, flicks a beautiful ball. Jamar Chase gets it, touchdown, crazy play. Oohs and ahs, you saw Twitter erupting. This is the type of plays that will happen when you give C.J. Stroud weapons. Then you find out that Jamar Chase told C.J. Stroud, you know you want to play with me, bro. Come on. Now that whole moment goes viral. You had Cincinnati fans upset saying, look, he's already choosing a different quarterback other than Joe Burrow. He's already turning on Joe Burrow. That caused so much buzz that Jamar Chase himself had to go on Twitter and posted this tweet. LOL, I'm not leaving my dog Joe that easy. Y'all relax. You had everyone in Houston saying, I don't care how much it costs. Go out there and get Jamar Chase. It's just crazy how one moment, how social media can cause a whole frenzy. The other star wide receiver that got a lot of buzz with C.J. Stroud, Stefon Diggs. Now, this one's a little different because apparently it was Stefon Diggs doing the research on the Houston Texans. I'm going to let you know what I mean. Welcome, everyone, to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I am your host, Ruben Calvillo. I drop daily Houston Texans content, so make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok for the latest news, rumors, and updates. And, guys, I just hit 10K subscribers. I was about to burp there. Just thank you so much for the continued and endless support. I would not be where I am today if it's not for you guys commenting, subscribing, liking, criticizing. It really means the world. And once again, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Now, like I said in the intro, what makes the Houston Texans and Stefon Diggs rumors different is that it was Stefon Diggs first reaching out and asking about the Houston Texans. He was showing the interest. Here's what I mean by that. This is from Ben on the Top. He breaks a lot of Astros news, so if you like the Houston Astros, give him a follow. For what it's worth, I do know for certain that Diggs recently reached out to a certain retired Texans wide receiver to ask him about the city and the organization. Now, certain retired Texans wide receiver, who could that be? Now, I'm trying to connect the dots here, right? But if I'm Stefon Diggs and I want to know about the Houston Texans team, I'm asking Andre Johnson. That is the only retired Texans wide receiver that I could think of whose words would hold weight and mean something to someone like Stefon Diggs. I mean, Andre Johnson, I call him the GOAT. I call him the greatest to ever put on a Texans uniform. He means that much to me, my favorite player of all time. Now, here is another tweet that went viral from Nostal Graphics. Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud seems to have grown a relationship with Bills wide receiver Stefon Diggs at the Pro Bowl. Diggs had reportedly been asking former Texan players about the city and culture they've built. The Bills currently sit at negative $43 million in cap space, and a trade for the 30-year-old former All-Pro is considered likely, should the Texans send Buffalo an offer for Diggs this offseason. Now, first, what I think about Stefon Diggs reaching out and asking former Houston Texan players about the city, about the organization, means he wants to come here. Now, whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. I don't think it does. I do not think the Houston Texans would trade for Stefon Diggs. But when someone like Stefon Diggs wants to be on the team, you have to talk about it. You have to think about it. Because at 30 years old, Still a top 10 wide receiver. His stats this year: 107 receptions, 1,183 yards, 8 touchdowns. There is no question that Stefon Diggs is still a game-changing wide receiver. And if you ask a lot of Houston Texans fans, that's exactly what we need. That is why you have a lot of people saying, go out there and give the bag to Mike Evans. Now, this is different because you obviously have to trade for Diggs. He still has 4 years left on his contract. But if you are the Houston Texans, I wonder what they are thinking. And I ask you guys, let me know in the comments. Number one, are you willing to trade for Stefon Diggs? And number two, what type of compensation would you be willing to give up? Now, another thing when you talk about Stefon Diggs, I mean, we're going to be honest. This dude's a diva. I told you I did not want to trade for A.J. Brown because of his antics on the sideline, yelling at his head coach, yelling at his so-called best friend, Jalen Hurts, and it's the same thing with Stefon Diggs. I mean, he asked about the culture. This culture is no nonsense. This culture is swarm, that is special work ethic and relentless mindset. Does Stefon Diggs at 30 have that? Does it have what it takes to push this team to its first ever AFC championship, to its first ever Super Bowl? Because that is what is going to be the expectations here in Houston if you get a guy like Stefon Diggs, if you are willing to take on that contract, which will be with him until he is 34 years old. His cap hit the next 4 years, 27.8 this year, 27.3 in 25, 28.4 in 26, 22.5 in 27, and that is when he is 34 years old. There is a huge risk factor in trading for someone like Stefon Diggs, but there is also the play of Stefon Diggs. This guy could be a game-changing wide receiver. We all remember what happened at, when he was with the Minnesota Vikings, but his stats, all his years with the Buffalo Bills have been more than 1,000 yards. I mean, 1,183 this year, 1,429 last year, 1,225 in 21, 1,500 his first year with them. Stefon Diggs is that dude. He's going to command the number one cornerback. He's going to command the defense to play to him, adjust to him. This is the type of guy you game plan for. I don't know, really. If it's me at GM, I'm not pulling the trigger. First, I would like to know what type of draft compensation they want and how much money they're willing to take off, because the lower they want, then the lower my draft pick is going to be. With that being said, I leave that question to you. Do you want Stefon Diggs, and how much would you be willing to trade for him? For more Texans content, you follow me for more. Go H-Town. Have a blessed day.